but stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave on the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you.
Hey, this looks good stuff.
This will be your first call for Class 2 Berkshire Barrows. First call, Class 2 Berkshire Barrows.
Let's leave it over here until all of them come in. That way you see the front look of everybody. But cropped enough that you don't see. I know.
You know this song? You can know that. Culture, enough, but you guys do like surfing this people. That's better.
This is your second call for Class 2 Berkshire Barrows. Second call, Class 2 Berkshire Barrows. This is your last and final call for Class 2 Berkshire Barrows. Last and final call for Class 2 Berkshire Barrows.
good morning. It's certainly a pleasure to be here in Arizona and get the opportunity to work through the Barrow show today with Jenna. And again, as I step in the barn, you can tell it's going to be a first-class event. Just the way the ring's set up and the help that's here. Again, we'll look forward to moving right through them, and I think we got a great way to start here in our first class of birds. And for us, I guess the one that's just the most comfortable and the most genuine in terms of skeleton and reach, the angle to his front shoulder, the squareness he has to his knee, and then without a doubt, he is the best in terms of his hip and hind leg and the way he utilizes that. You study him at the ground. He's a stout-featured bear that brings some forearm, he brings some hind leg, and with that, I think he fits his weight just in terms of freshness of body, still got shape and spread, and yet at the same time, he's the most athletic out here. Young lady's got a nice bear to start off with. The one that we got into, I think most resembles our class winner in terms of density of skeleton. His jaw and forearm still read stout. He's very good through the center portion of his body, shaped to his blade, shaped to the center portion of his rib. At the same time, you can catch him maybe just getting a little lower set. He's not as long and youthful there, maybe about his head and neck. He's not quite as flexible, got a little more swelling there maybe in his hock. Doesn't want to use that hip and hind leg quite as good as our class winner, but that's a good bear in terms of stoutness of feature, one that's brought up high. He's very good through the center portion of his body. That's where those two bears there at the top of the class excel. The one that we drop here in 3 is just overall body shape and stoutness of feature. This one's very good looking and good profiling of our top trio. If you wanted to say he's the best from the side, I wouldn't argue there, because this bear's tall shoulder, he's the most extended ahead of his blade, and with that, he's got a big ditch back working. At the same time, he gets a little narrower there when he comes right at you. He's frailer in his forearm, he's not as stout in his feature. I don't read his body shape being quite as good through the center portion, his forerib and his center body as the two we had ahead of him, but still that's a good bear that offers us some muscle shape, offers us some extension from the side. The bear that comes out next just is one that the longer he drives, he wants to struggle more out of his hip and hind leg as well. That one's got a flex, plant, push, and drive with a little more ease and comfort. Maybe not just quite as fresh and youthful when you study him in comparison to our top 4. The next one that comes out, a very tall fronted, elevated bear. At the same time, he gets a little more restricted in terms of his movement and mobility off of both ends of his skeleton. We change him out of his hip and rump and redesign that, allow him to use and plant and use his hind leg with a little more authority. As we come on down the line here, we talk to some of these exhibitors. The nice bear here just gets a little shallower in his forerib. He too wants to push a little more off out of his shoulder. This bear just needs to flex and plant out of his rear foot and his hip and his hock there, lengthening in that hip and hock, and I think that would help him there. Some of those exhibitors are going and going back. We've talked to them there as we drop them in a pin. Once again, a great way to start our show here in Arizona. Let's give those kids a big round of applause if you would.
The results out of Class 1 Berkshire Barrows. First, Emma Tolley. Second, Jessica Duncan. Third, Dallas Headley. Fourth, Cole Mello. Fifth, Clayton Vanoli. Sixth, Emma Arispe. Seventh, Dean Pombo. 8th, Anthony Zealous. 9th, Stephen Schimm. 10th, Taft Rice. Now entering the ring is Class 2 Berkshire Barrows. If you were the top 5 of that first class, we'll need you in the holding area at the conclusion of this class. If you were the top 5 of Class 1 Berkshire Barrows, we'll need you in the holding area after this class.
I left the watch. Stitch is 2. Steven is 6.
Grab his tail.
So your first call with Chester Barrows. First call, Chester Barrows, the Lake Up area.
Again, a nice class of bears, and the young man's bear is going to be the one that starts off the drive. And again, so for us, that's the combination bear that combines base width at the ground and yet maintains width and spread up high. It's a bear that's got all kinds of shape to his leg. He's good in terms of proportions from the side. He's got a big hind leg, he's got a stout forearm, and yet for as much heat as he's packing in terms of shape and base width, I still think that his angle to his front shoulder reads better than the front part of his shoulder than the bear that we've got there in two, and yet at the same time, he still utilizes that hind leg plenty good enough. He's got all kinds of shape and spread. He's better through his forehead, he's better through his body shape. I think he's a little more proportional out here today than the one we use in second. The bear that we use in second, I really like in terms of elevation, length out of his front 1/3. He's still good when you get on top of him in terms of shape and spread to his back there. At the same time, compared to our class winner, maybe gets a little longer there in the way he's designed. He's not as good in the center portion of his body. You study there in his forehead, the center portion of his body is not near as good as the one we led off with. But a good pair of bears up there at the top end. here's one that Jenna and I said, if you want to talk about one that's impressive when you get on top of him, that's the bear that rolls out a 3. That's a big blade. He's got a huge, big, square back blade in him. He's big through his upper hip. At the same time, with that added muscle, it comes at a cost of just comfortability out here. He's the tightest in his pinch set. He's the shortest in his hip and rump. He doesn't want to flex and use that rear ankle and foot near as good as the ones we had in first and second. If we could change that one, I like that one's freshness, his youthful look he does possess. He's got a big blade and all kinds of shape and power. Very well presented in terms of skin and hair. He's just got to go better there from behind for us. This bear's a good profiling bear from the side at the same time. He gets the flattest in terms of his blade shape. He gets the flattest when you get right on top of him compared to our top 4. Needs just more shape and spread there. And then you study him there at the ground. He's the frailest in his forearm and his rear foot. He just needs to have a little more stoutness of feature. But I do appreciate his look and his extension. The young man does a good job of driving, presenting that bear very good through the center portion of his body. He just needs more gas in the tank and needs to be stoutened in his features. Here's a bear that offers more stoutness than the one we ran ahead of him at the same time. It comes at the cost. You study him out of his hip and rump. He's the shortest there of our top 5. We got to change him just in terms of mobility, but does have shape, power, and mass to go with it. Just need to reconstruct him out of his hip and his hind leg. Here's a bear that comes out next, not quite as fresh and youthful when you study him just through his head and neck and his skin down low, but the young lady does a good job of driving and presenting that hook. Still got some shape and power to go with it. Just maybe, as we said before, just needs to be a little more athletic. We need to get the parts and pieces to blend just a little better. And as we come on down the line here, this bear gets a little narrower when he comes at you, a little frailer in his forearm. But once again, a good class here in Class 2 of our Berkshire Barrows.
Your results out of Class 2. First, Wyatt Collard. Second, Raina Rawls. Third, Kelly Lloyd. Fourth, Weston Knowles. Fifth, Jack Brixey. Sixth, Taylor Rowe. Seventh, Kristen Blake. Eighth, Aiden Pennington. Ninth, Hunter Stevens. 10th, Jordan Blankenship. We're now ready to drive for your champion Berkshire Barrow here at this year's Arizona National. This award is sponsored by Bob and Beverly Bushall in Gallery 45, Arizona. Coming out of class number 1, congratulations, Emma Tolley of Texas. Second, Jessica Duncan. Third, Dallas Headley. And coming out of class number 2, congratulations, Wyatt Collard of Missouri. Second, Rena Rawls. Third, Kelly Lloyd. Please put your hands together for your class winners here in your Berkshire division. This will also be the second call for Class 1 Chester Barrows. Second call Chester Barrows to the makeup area.
She's quiet. I was like, wait,
Chester Barrows, we need you to makeup area. Chester Barrows.
It's on a good Berkshire show, and I really do like our 2 class winners out here. I think they represent quality, and yet at the same time, I think they're both comfortable enough in terms of their skeleton, in terms of range of mobility. They're good through the center portion of their blade, and their body shape's still right, and yet at the same time, there's one that's just got more of everything. When you study them up high, you study them in terms of soundness of features. I could get nitpicky on both of the barrows just a little bit when they both come at you, so I call that a wash. And at the same time, you can put the other one inside our heavyweight a couple times. Heavyweight's going to be our champion bird.
Your champion Berkshire Barrow comes out of Class 2. Congratulations, Wyatt Collard. That'll drop in Rena Rawls for reserve contention.
drop out to second, and as we talked in class, a bear that's very elevated, still extended ahead of his blade. As we mentioned, maybe not just quite as good through the center portion of his body. I thought there was another one out here that followed the pattern and type and kind of our champion. I love this guy. This thing's hip and hind legs, unbelievable. We change him just a little as he comes right at you. And for a lightweight, maybe just change his head and neck ever so slightly. But that one's comfort level and still having a shape and dimension. He's very good through his center portion of his body. And the lightweight here is going to be a reserve.
Your reserve champion Berkshire Barrow comes out of Class 1. Congratulations, Emma Tolley of Texas. That'll drop in Jessica Duncan. Chester Barrows, you should be in the holding area. Chester Barrows, you should be in the holding area.
Because I saw this before they brought it on. Had like 250. Big bag. South. One is classic. They got chips in it. I'll watch But what she said was the judge, the board that won, the judge was part of that.
Your results for your Berkshire Barrow Drive. Champion, Wyatt Collar of Missouri. Reserve, Emma Tolley, Texas. Third, Rita Rawls, California. Fourth, Jessica Duncan, California. Fifth, Dallas Headley, Oregon. Now entering the ring is Chester Barrows. There's one class of Chester Barrows, so this will be your first call for Class 1 Duroc Barrows. First call, Class 1 Duroc Barrows.
The four I put on my 2000 super jacked up front of his neck. One salad has that, but the other side doesn't. So we'll see how it goes. But I got one side super powerful with legs, and the other one gives her a good leg, but she's super fancy. It just depends on what you
This will be your second call for Class 1 Duroc Barrows. Second call, Class 1 Duroc Barrows, the makeup area.
It's a fucking yeah, when I get back, make a run of the sales, I can notice some. There's some that I'm like, at the time they were good, but now I'm like, bro, they should be I'm excited to see the guys who gave
This will be your last and final call for Class 1 Duroc Barrows. Last and final call, Class 1 Duroc Barrows.
I'm gonna get rid of. I have some crosses that I had. They got the front end pretty look, but
As we wrap up our Chester Barrow drive, this will be our champion, which is sponsored by Staybridge Suites. Thank you, Staybridge Suites, for being our sponsor.
Here in our Chester division, young lady's bigger Barrows is going to win, and not just because he's bigger, but he's sounder, more athletic off of both ends of his skeleton. At the same time, presents a good look from the profile, still got shape and dimension when you get on top of him. Good through his upper hip and rump. I think he's able to utilize his hip and his hind leg and his rear foot a little more effectively than the Barrow that we're going to have in here in reserve. Nice place to start here in our Chester division. This Barrow here that is going to come into, you get on top of him, he's got a pile of shape just in terms of dimension there to his blade. He's good through his upper hip in terms of shape. He's got a big hip and a big upper hip and rump and stifle there. At the same time, he gets more constricted off of both ends of his skeleton. I change him at the top side of his neck and pole right now for a Barrow of that size and stature. But good in terms of density of skeleton, good in terms of shape. He's just got to go better in terms of range of motion. This Barrow does do that. He can get out and cover the track with more ease and comfort. He's longer off of both ends of his skeleton in terms of step and stride. At the same time, when you get right on top of him, this one's just got to have more true shape coming out of the backside of his blade. He's the flattest when you get right in the center portion of his back. He's the flattest in terms of his body shape. He just needs a shot more out here for a market hog setting for us in order to get him up higher, a spot higher. He does have the range of motion and flexibility and an advantage over the Barrows that stand on both sides of him. Just got to have more true shape. This Barrow here gets a little more moderate. He gets a little more frail there in his forearm. He too, I changed the way that he's constructed in terms of his muscle pattern out of his hip and rump. Gets a little flatter there from behind. Gets a little bit more moderate in his type of time. The Barrow that comes out next, young lady, does a good job of driving and presenting. This one too needs to be opened up in terms of chest floor and squareness and knee. We get down to him in his features, but I thought he deserved to get in our top 5 in terms of range and mobility. Not quite as fresh. You need to open him up in terms of his chest. We talked to the 2 young men that come out next. This Barrow just gets way too straight out of the front part of his shoulder. We can square him out of his knee as well. He's got all kinds of shape there in the center portion of his back. Just got to be able to handle that just a little better in terms of range of motion than a Barrow that's just not quite as comfortable out here. Once again, a good class of Chesters. Let's give those kids a round of applause.
Your results from your Chester Barrow drive. First and champion, Lindsay Galbraith, North Dakota. Reserve, Hannah Slate, California. Third, Rita Rowell, California. Fourth, Riley Joseph, Colorado. Fifth, Jordan Blankenship, California. 6, Connor Correa, California. 7, Michael Holguin, New Mexico. Now entering the ring is Class 1 Duroc Barrows. Class 1 Duroc Barrows is entering the ring. This will be first call for Class 2 Duroc Barrows. First call, Class 2 Duroc Barrows.
He says work, can't, but hard to say. Yes. Still a choice. A little bit, yeah. You know, I think it might also depend on the day you ask him. There are some days. Yeah. Well, I say yeah, but it's also... Sometimes it's too dang negative, it sounds. All right. Sure, yeah. You never know.
This will be your second call, Class 2 Duroc Barrows. Second call, Class 2 Duroc Barrows to make up area.
Not on the site, you know. So I don't know if it's dead or just probably sold to somebody that no one posted. Usually I just call up and like, so where's he at? Usually they tell me he's dead or something. Or they're sick. There's one boy I used to know, he's out of Schaefer and Poland. Asked where they were, and he was off for like a year, and randomly came back and said he got sick, constantly counseling. He said he collected them one day randomly, but it was all good. But I'll just have to call him and see what he's at. But Upper Hand has some, yeah, Upper Hand has some doors that was nice fun. Out of the Yorkshire? Oh, that first one we got?
Were you saying to
Try to stop
This will be your last and final call for Class 2 Duroc Barrows. Last and final call, Class 2 Duroc Barrows.
Next year I'll have 3 boards. Just most of my own boards, 1 or 2.
Young lady in the white leads off the drive, and again, that's the totals bar. That's the combination of just flexibility, range of motion. Still good up through his head and neck, and yet he's got some shape and dimension when you get on top of him. He's the best just in terms of balance from the profile, and yet he can reach and flex and still get out and go and cover the track very well out here compared to his contemporaries. The one we got here in two from shoulder back, he's very fresh and youthful, good through the center portion of his body. He too's got shape and dimension up high, and we certainly appreciate that. That's a big upper hip and a big stifle. It's the front third that we need to reconstruct. We need to lay him back in his shoulder. We need to change him from knee to ground, changing in terms of his front foot placement. He's just not as athletic off of either end of his skeleton in comparison to our class winner. The bear here we got in 3 is one that offers us some height. He offers us some elevation and look ahead of his blade. With that, I don't really have as much true shape when you get right on top of him. He gets coarser and thicker there in the center portion of his hand. He gets coarser in his hock and the way he wants to utilize that hock. I just change how that bear just balances and blends together, changing there in his rear hock joint as well. The one that comes out next, we need to change him up front. This one gets pushed too far in the front part of his blade. He's the narrowest and most caved in there in his knee, and at the same time gets a little tighter in his ham loin hook up there. Just blend those parts and pieces, reconstruct his front 1/3. Still got a good hip and a hind leg, still in some elevation. Just need to change him in those areas in order to move him up. The bear that comes out here in 5 is the most moderate and also at the same time probably a little heavier in his body shape than the ones we had ahead of him. We need to elevate and extend him as well. We run into 2 bears down here in 6 and 7. Just need to be more athletic and more comfortable in terms of their range and mobility. Once again, a good class, good way to start off our Duroc show.
Your results out of Class 1 Duroc Barrows. First, Jessica Lentz. Second, Gavin Piddington. Third, Kylie George. Fourth, Gage Gearing. Fifth, Bristol Riggs. Sixth, Kyle Smith. Seventh, Michael Hoagland. Now entering the ring is Class 2 Chester Barrows. Just a reminder, exhibitors, champions and reserves are being handed bio sheets, and we need those turned back into the announcer stand as soon as possible. Your champion or reserve in your breed, you should be getting a bio sheet, and we need those turned back into us up here at the announcer stand as soon as possible. Thank you. This will be your first call for Class 3 Duroc Barrows. First call, Class 3 Duroc Barrows. This is your second call, Class 3, Duroc Barrows. Second call, Class 3, Duroc Barrows, the makeup area. This is the last and final call for Class 3, Duroc Barrows. Last and final call, Class 3, Duroc Barrows.
Here in our second class of Durocs, maybe just not the one that comes out and says, I have to win this class, but at the same time, as we step back and study them, there's one that's got the advantage in terms of stoutness of feature, there's one that's got the advantage as the drive goes on. He maintains the most flexibility and comfort out here, and I think he does truly have more genuine shape when you study him up high and up through his hip and run, and that's a young man's Barrow. That one offers us more stoutness of feature, and at the same time, he stays comfortable. He's got more shape, not that he comes at us with an overwhelming amount of shape, but he's probably got more than the one we're going to run here in 2. Definitely does a great job with this Barrow here in second. The longer the drive goes, he gets more restricted out of the front part of his shoulder, gets a little more choppy in the way he uses that hip and hind leg. He needs to just have more base width underneath. He needs to have a little more shape and spread through his upper hip and his stifle, but at the same time, a nice pair of Barrows that I think resemble each other from the pattern and profile. Here's a Barrow that comes out next that does probably have more stoutness of feature than the one we had in 2. At the same time, he's the narrowest. When he comes right at you, he's the most tender up front. We need to open that guy in his chest floor, square him in his knee in order to move him up a spot or 2. The young man does a good job with that Barrow. We come on down the line here. We got some Barrows. I thought this one patterns up to the next best just in terms of profile. Offers us some genuine shape and dimension up through his upper hip and his stifle there. Just gets a little frailer. He gets more upright there in the front part of his shoulder. We need to just stout him and his features. On down the line, we talked to some of these kids as they went in. Just change them in terms of range and mobility. Once again, a good class here in Class 2 of our Durocs.
Your results out of Class 2. First, Case Cook. Second, Madeline Kaiser. Third, Caleb Ramsey. Fourth, Hunter Sanders. Fifth, Samantha Merriman. Sixth, Lennon Chiquetto. Seventh, Jacob Figuera. Now entering the ring is Class 3 Duroc Barrows.
I thought he was at 13.
Okay. You're right. Right now, it's my turn.
Exhibitors, the backdrop is open, so if you have a breed champion or reserve, we prefer you get those pictures taken now rather than waiting for a night. If you have a breed champion or reserve, please get your pictures taken at the backdrop, preferably sooner rather than later. Thank you. It's your first call for Class 4 Duroc Barrows. First call, Class 4 Duroc Barrows. This is your second call, Class 4 Duroc Barrows. Second call, Class 4 Duroc Barrows to make up area, please. This is your last and final call for Class 4 Duroc Barrows. Last and final call, Class 4 Duroc Barrows to make up area.
Mexican beat the last guy.
Here in our third class, honestly a challenging class to line up. There's some give and take with all these out here, and I guess the one that we're the most comfortable with, just in terms of squareness of build, squareness of skeleton, chest width, and just genuine, one that comes at you genuine and still leaves you genuine, is a young man's barrow right here. And at the same time, for the width that he has, he can still handle it in terms of range of motion off of both ends. I'm not going to say he's just the freshest one in his appearance up through his head and neck, and we change his front foot placement just a little bit, but at the same time, that one's bigger about his chest, he's squarer about his knee, and yet as the drive wore on, that thing can still get out and reach and motor to bring some added stoutness of feature to the table. He's still got enough shape and dimension, he's still good enough through the center portion of his body. We change a few areas there, but that would be the case with all of them probably out here in this class. The one that comes into from his laid back, we like just in terms of his boldness up high, his boldness through the center portion of his body is when he comes directly at you. He gets narrower there in his chest, he closes in, and gets closer there in his knee. I do like the added look and advantage that he has just out of his front 1/3. Still good in terms of shape and dimension to his upper hip and stifle. Just changing when he comes right at you, quite honestly, in comparison to our class winner. The one that we got next is a buyer that is probably just the freshest in his overall appearance of our top three. With that, he's the frailest about his forearm, he's the smallest about his foot and his ankle, and when you get right in behind him, he's the hardest to analyze as he goes right away from you. He wants to fade and give a little just off the ground there. We change that in that area. That barrow wants to come in. He's not quite as square, not quite as genuine there. From the top of his hip to his hock and from his hock to his ground, he needs to plant square in that regard. He needs to be stouter in his features in order for us to move him up. This barrow does have a very good look from the profile. With that look, he gets narrower underneath. He's the narrower in his chest floor, the top four. He's the most inverted in his knee when he comes right at you. We thought he got a little harsher there in his loin hookup as well. We blend those parts and pieces, make him wider and more genuine when he comes right at us. This barrow here, the same thing, just gets maybe a little frailer in his design. We change the parts and pieces, the way he ties out of the top side of his neck, and change him out of his upper hip and rump. This barrow just gets a little more piecey out here. The young man does a good job of driving and presenting, change that barrow's head shape, and then we got one that goes out, maybe just a little more inflammation there, gets a little coarser in his appearance. We need to make him just more square up front as well. Once again, a good class. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Your results out of Class 3 Duroc Barrows. First, Matt Walker. Second, Diego Lofton. Third, Grace Curry. Fourth, Miles Hannon. Fifth, Clayton George. Sixth, Colby Gomez. Seventh, Dakota Rowe. Now entering the ring is Class 4 Duroc Barrows. This is the last class of Duroc Barrows. So we'll take the top three from classes 1, 2, and 3 of Duroc Barrows in the makeup area. top 3 barrows from the first 3 classes of Durocs. We'll need you in the makeup area. If you were first, second, or third in your Duroc barrow class, we need you in the makeup area. If you were first, second, or third in your Duroc barrow class, we need you in the makeup area. Top 3 barrows from your Duroc barrow class, we need you in the makeup area. You're in the top 3 of your Duroc barrow class, we need you in the makeup area. You're in the top 3 of your Duroc barrow class, we need you in the makeup area. If you're 4th or 5th, please be on immediate standby.
here in our last class of red bears. The young man's bear over here is going to start off, and again, one that comes through the gate that gives you a look of quality just in terms of base width, squareness of skeleton. He's maxed out up high just in terms of shape and dimension. His body shape's good. He's still got a big stout upper hip and hind leg to go with it. And then when he collects himself and the young man can get him drove, still presents a very good look and pattern from the side. The one there in two has got the advantage just in terms of stoutness feature. His forearm, his jaw, his hind legs bigger than the bear that's going to be in three. And at the same time, I think he's better on the front part of his shoulder. You know, with this bear, he gets a little longer, probably fighting the scales just a little more. Not as fresh and youthful when you study him in terms of his center body, but that is a stout-featured bear that's still got some shape. He's still got some spread and dimension up high. Nice pig there that the young man does a good job of driving and presenting. Good job of there in two. Finlay does a really good job of driving and presenting this bear that comes out next. He just runs out of feature, quite honestly, compared to the two ahead of him. His jaw, his forearm, his hind leg doesn't read as stout and dense. He gets a little tighter off of both ends of his skeleton as well, the longer the drive goes. But in terms of freshness, he excels the bear that we had there in two. His body shape, his length ahead of his blade there, and his look that he does possess just needs to be a little more comfortable out for both ends of his skeleton. Need to stouten his feature just a little more in order to move him off the spot. The bear that comes out next gets a little plainer just in terms of shape and dimension. He's the flattest of the top four in terms of his blade. He's the flattest there behind his blade through the center portion of his back. We need to lengthen his upper hip and rump, but once again, the young man does a good job just in terms of getting that one drove and presented. Skin and hair is still very good there to drop him before. The one we come with here in fifth, and the same thing as he said, needs to be stouter and denser for as much shape and dimension as he has up high. You just need to stouten that guy's features in terms of forearm and hind leg. He needs to be wider and broader when he comes right at you. This bear just wants to struggle a little more, and we run into a few. Just not quite as fresh, probably fighting the scales a little more. But once again, all the kids in this class did an excellent job. Let's give them a round of applause for doing well.
Your results out of Class 4 Duroc Barrows. First, Tucker Mockridge. Second, Holden Thielman. Third, Sophia Nolema. Fourth, Lance Curry. Fifth, Caleb Ramsey. Sixth, Kaylee Weber. Seventh, Stefano Goldman. Eighth, Emma Burton. Ninth, Charlie Aldridge. 10th, Jaylee Burton. We're now driving for your champion, Duroc Barrow, here at the Arizona National. Out of class number 1, congratulations, Jessica Lentz of Oklahoma. Out of class number 2, congratulations, Case Cook of Texas. Out of class 3, Matt Walker of Oklahoma. And out of your just completed class number 4, congratulations, Tucker Mockridge of Oregon. Please put your hands together for your class winners here in the Duroc Barrow division. Your champion Duroc Barrow is sponsored by Small Town Genetics and Fat Man and the Redhead. Our judge today for your Market Barrow show is Justin Rodabaugh from Rensselaer, Indiana. Justin graduated from Purdue University in 2005 and was on the livestock judging team. Justin is the part owner in Seed Company in Northwest Indiana and also part owner of Tres Amigos Show Pigs in Rensselaer, Indiana that runs 70 sows. He's judged in 27 states at the state and national levels, including San Antonio, Houston, San Angelo, Texas State Fair, Oklahoma Youth Expo, Kansas City, World Pork Expo, and the NJSA Summertime Conference. Justin is joined with his wife Rhonda, and they have 4 children. Landry, who's 13, Riley, who's 11, Gentry, who's 9, and Remy, who's 6. If you would please give our judge, Mr. Justin Rodabaugh, a nice round of applause.
Again, I think we've had a real nice red show, and if you would, before we name our champion, congratulations. Let's give a big round of applause to all 4 of our class winners out here. Again, it may have been a little challenging in spots to work through the reds, but I'm happy with the class winners we do have out here. I think, again, they resemble hogs that got some squareness to their skeleton. They're comfortable in terms of range and mobility, in terms of flexibility off of both ends, and yet market hogs still gotta have some genuine shape up high, and they gotta match at the foundation. The second and third story, as you build them and go up, has gotta match down low, and I think that's important. Again, when we bring it back out here, I think there's the one that you can make the least amount of concerns or questions or excuses about, other than the pig's attitude. It's not always the best, but yet at the same time, I do think this is the buyer that's the best one, just in terms of one that's genuine, stout, he's still fresh, he's still got shape. That man's Barrow over there on the far side.
Your champion, Duroc Barrow, comes out of Class 4. Congratulations, Tucker Mockridge of Oregon. That'll drop in Holden Fieldman for reserve contention.
I think probably a little closer when we get in here for reserve out here. And for Jenna and us, it boils down to a pair of them, and they're not exactly the same, but yet I think they're the ones that bring quality. There's one to us, just in terms, again, density of skeleton, but with that, he's very loose in the way he's made out of his shoulder. He's got a very good hip and hind leg. He brings some stoutness to feature. As we talked to him in class, we change him just a little bit in his throat latch there. We change him in his front feet. But I think the parts and pieces and just overall skeleton, to get one that big and still that stout and still having that kind of shape, and to be that loose with the ones we've got to use out here, I think he does it second best. Young man on the far side is going to be reserved.
Your reserve champion, Duroc Barrow, comes out of Class 3. Congratulations, Matt Walker of Oklahoma. That'll drop in Diego Lofton.
I think the other one that was in contention out here for reserve is very good in his own right. Obviously, he's a buyer that brings a great deal of freshness to the table. His body shape's good. He's better ahead of his blade. At the same time, maybe gets a little shorter in his step and stride, can get a little tighter in the way that he blends there, and his pin set and his ham loin hookup. But that one's got a big back. He's got a fresh, very good through the center portion of his body, and yet has all kinds of shape and muscle to go with it. We thought it was close between reserve and third. We'll keep that pair together. Young lady's lightweight here is going to be third out.
Your third overall, Duroc Barrow, comes out of the lightweight class. Congratulations, Jessica Lentz of Oklahoma. That'll drop in Gavin Piddington. Also, first class, Hampshire Barrows, we need you in the makeup area. Class 1, Hampshire Barrows, we need you in the makeup area.
Better when you get your premium check.
Your results from your Duroc Barrow Drive. Congratulations, champion Tucker Mockridge. Reserve, Mac Walker. Third, Jessica Lentz. Fourth, Diego Lofton. Fifth, Grace Curry. We're now ready for your first class of Hampshire Barrows.
I didn't even look at him when he ended it. I was like, I thought there was these two, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, I appreciate that because
Class 2, Hampshire Barrows. This is your first call. Class 2, Hampshire Barrows.
You're doing really, really good. So just like how you were.
Devin signed one the other day. I afraid to get it back. He never signs anything. Like, yeah, I'm like, well, the office actually signed it. Yeah, that's not his signature. That has to be his signature.
Second call, Class 2, Hampshire Barrows. Second call, Class 2, Hampshire Barrows for makeup area.
I always have an second killer hired guy. That's what like every killer myself. So, I've been in the hospital every day for like so often. Like, I've seen more of his parts than I ever wanted to do my makeup. But now I have to work with him every day. It's very awkward in a relationship. But now he's living with me. So, you want to talk about all I saw was a cute Ranger button 5 years ago. Where I got it. Where I got it. I have no idea where it is. Yeah. Thankfully, the physical therapist. He just well, they had loaded the beef trailer and it just fell off.
Oh, I think we're at least good.
He didn't even obviously see it coming when I did, or he didn't. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. I told him a little bit of like the time, like I go back to the phone, it's like, oh, you know, guys, this is called 911. Yeah. Two places, both legs, 2 places.
Oh, God.
That was my Thanksgiving. It was amazing. I have to say. Not bad.
Class 2, Hampshire Barrows, this is your last and final call. Class 2, Hampshire Barrows, this is your last and final call.
really a good set of Barrows, and especially our top trio out here. And I think the closest decision that we've had to make throughout the show to this point. And I keep coming back to the young lady here in the blue. This one just looks extremely natural to me. He's very, very fresh. And at the same time, he's the best through the center portion of his body. He's got a big blade, but he works right behind that blade. That's a big return to his rib. He's very good through his forerib. He's good from his forerib to his flank, and yet with that, he's got enough stoutness of feature to him. When you study jaw and forearm, you get on top of him, that Barrow's got plenty of shape and dimension. As he leads you, that's a big pin. He's big through his upper hip and stifle. He's got enough stoutness of feature at the ground to be able to match that mass that he has up high. Ideally, maybe you could just lengthen his upper hip and rump just a little bit in that regard. But that's the fresh Barrow that's presented extremely well that we end up landing on here in our first class of hands. The Barrow that comes out next, I like this one from the profile. You talk about height to shoulder, elevation. He's got a very good look. You study him coming right at you. He's not as wide. He doesn't have as much turn to the outer portion of his blade. He's not as good through the center portion of his body as what our class winner was. At the same time, that one poses a very good picture from the side and then from the silhouette. He's a tall shoulder back. He's still got enough shape when you get right up on top of him. He's still good. He's a little longer about his upper hip and rump and the way he wants to use that hind leg compared to our class winner. Again, another good Barrow there to be in too. This Barrow, I thought the longer we drove him, he gets a little tighter out of the front part of his blade. He gets a little straighter in the way he's designed out of his upper hip and his hop. He's just not quite as athletic and flexible there. I'd relax him in the front part of his blade and shoulder. But again, that's a Barrow that patterns up very good from the side. His height to length ratio and still being a Barrow that's very proportional in his own right. You get on top of him, from the side, I wasn't sure if he had enough shape. You get right on top of him, he still has some shape there, the center portion of his back. Maybe gets a little flatter in his upper hip and his stifle compared to the other two. But still a very good Barrow. He's driven and presented extremely well, and I appreciate that. This Barrow here, I thought, quite honestly, just fell out of bounds in terms of body shape and condition. He gets a little wastier there in his throat latch. He gets a little wastier through his lower 1/3 of his body. But you talk about meat and potatoes, that one's big and broad about his blade. He's huge about the center portion of his back. His body shape's still plenty good enough. Just gets a little bit more moderate. I'd clean him up in terms of body shape and condition just a little bit in that regard. This Barrow wants to struggle just a little more out of his hip and hind leg. You get right in behind him. He needs to be square from off the ground. He needs to be square in those rear feet and that rear ankle in order to move him up higher than 5th today. But still a good Barrow in his own regards. This Barrow just wants to get a little more tubular. He needs to have more center body. He gets a little plainer and flatter about his jaw there and up through his face. If zippers on down the line, just struggle with maybe just a little more just in terms of range of motion. But once again, an excellent class, very good trio up there at the top end. My congratulations to those Hampshire exhibitors.
Your results out of the first class of Hampshire Barrows. First, Elena Consol. Second, Ruby Blickley. Third, Mac Walker. Fourth, Yelena Peraza. Fifth, Bristol Corriera. Sixth, Alan Pombo. Seventh, Kinley Manoli. Eighth, Brady Watts. Ninth, Sylvie Peterson. Now entering the rink is Class 2 Hampshire Barrows. If you were in the top 5 of the first class, please circle back into the makeup area. Top 5 Barrows from the first class will meet in the makeup area. Hereford Tamworth Barrows will take in the makeup area. Hereford Tamworth Barrows will take in the makeup area.
I don't like mine too. I don't know. I have aged it
Again, another strong class, the Hampshire Barrows up here on the top end, and yet at the same time, we drop them back out. The barrow that's the combination barrow is the young ladies' barrow. That one's genuine when he comes at you in terms of base width. He's genuine when he leaves you from behind, and then yet at the same time, very good up high in terms of shape to his blade and dimension. Very good through the center portion of his body. Maybe almost at times got him a little too full, but yet that one's got a very flexible skeleton that it can read, can plant. He's square and more genuine from the top of his hip to his hock and hock to ground than the bear that we got into, and yet still got a good look ahead of his blade. Nice bear there to start. I thought 2 and 3 was the closest decision within this class, and I thought the young man's bear, this presented extremely well, driven extremely well, is going to land here in 2. His height to shoulder and the way he ties into his head and neck's a little better than the one that we've got into 3, and at the same time, that one's got, he's packing a big punch up high, shape out of his blade, squareness to the center part of his back. Does have a very good look from the profile. It's when you get right in behind him. He needs to be square there just from hock to ground. He needs to be square in his rear ankle, and I'd stout him probably in his features just a little bit for as much mass and product as he has up high. Main area of concern for me when you get right in behind him, I square in there. I thought he was more comfortable off of both ends of his skeleton. His angles read better out of his front shoulder. His angle reads better out of the way he uses his hip and hock than the bear that comes into 3. This one in terms of base width is opened up. Huge chest, square knee, big blade, big back. Very good in terms of his shape to the center portion of his body. He leaves you equally as impressive in terms of dimension to his upper hip and stifle. He just gets straighter off of both ends, and straighter out of his shoulder. He gets straighter out of his hock along with the drive length compared to our top 2. Here's still a good bear that comes next. Fresh in terms of the center portion of his body. Good in terms of shape and dimension up high. Just maybe gets a little more moderate and a little quicker maybe in his maturity pattern. Doesn't have quite the elevation and look that the ones we had ahead of him. This bear that comes out next has got all kinds of shape and dimension. Well presented by our skin and hairs on point. He just doesn't go good enough out of his hip and hind leg. He needs to be able to use that just a little better in order to move him up. That ladies bear that comes out next, just need to make him a little wider underneath. Once again, it's been a good ham show. Let's give those kids a round of applause.
Congratulations. The results for your second class of Hampshire Barrows: first, Lauren Tadman; second, Cade Backman; third, Parker Dressel; fourth, Caleb Otto; fifth, Cade Godekin; sixth, Bryn Peterson. We're now ready to drive for your champion Hampshire Barrow. This award is sponsored by HTR Johnson LLC.
I'll be here.
Coming out of class number 1, congratulations, Elena Kunsall from Colorado. Second, Ruby Blickley. Third, Mac Walker. And coming out of the heavy class, congratulations, Lauren Tadman of California. Second, Cade Backman. Third, Parker Dressel. Please put your hands together for your class winners here in your Hampshire Barrow division. Hereford and Tamworth Barrows is your second call. Hereford and Tamworth Barrows, this is your second call.
Here's the piggy. Did you know they can scream? And they're so loud.
Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Why are they
I don't know. Because that's how they walk.
really a good pair of barrows, and I'm not going to tell you they look exactly the same, but each one of them brings something to the table that's different than the other one. I think there's one barrow that's longer about his hip and the way he wants to use and plan to use that hind leg. I think his balance and his lines are impeccable when you get to him on the side, and yet still got enough underneath. There's another barrow that's got more jaw and stoutness of feature, and as we commented in class, just maybe gets a little shorter in his upper hip and rump and the way he wants to use that hind leg. So when it comes down, I think it's a very close decision, even though the two barrows don't necessarily resemble each other. I think they are the high-quality barrows that won their respective classes out here. Again, for us, I think the one that's just the most comfortable, the longest about his hip, and still got a very, very good look from the side, and lays heavyweight our champion.
Congratulations, your champion in Hampshire Barrow comes out of Class 2, Lauren Tadman of California. That'll drop in Kate Backman for reserve contention.
We thought it was very close, as we said, between the pair of barrows out here, and I like this barrow. You talk about freshness, just in terms of his body shape, his stoutness, the jaw, and his features very good. I'd lengthen him in his upper hip and rump just a little bit, and allow him just to use that hind leg just a little bit more, with a little more authority, if you will, but still, I think that's an awful good barrow. The other class winner is going to be our reserve.
Your reserve champion Hampshire Barrow belongs to Elena Consol from Colorado. That'll drop in Ruby Blickley for third overall contention.
Smile, Alexis is taking photos of us. Oh. Where is she? She's over there. Oh. I didn't even see her.
Quick recap of your Hampshire Barrow drive. Your champion, Lauren Tadman of California. Reserve, Elena Consol, Colorado. Third, Ruby Blickley, Idaho. Fourth, Kate Backman, California. Fifth, Mac Walker, Oklahoma. Now entering the ring is our Hereford and Tamworth Barrows. This will be your first call for Landrace Barrows. This will be first and second call for Landrace Barrows.
again, base width and squareness of skeleton, and combining that with a barrow for that frame and stature. He's got a big square back laid in it. He's got all kinds of shape and dimension there. Easy class winner, high quality pig there to lead off with. The one that most resembles him is actually standing there in second, and again, not as quite as unique looking up through his head and neck and where he ties into his crest, but it just in terms of shape, and one that's got some base with still a good barrow in his own right. Just ran into a very competitive one here at the top end. You get on top of this one does have all kinds of shape to his blade. He's got a big square back blade in him, and at the same time leaves you square and true and genuine in the way he goes out of his hip and hind leg, just changing from his blade forward in order to compete with the one ahead won. I thought just squareness and soundness of skeleton, and one that's still got some dimension, and that's the other Tamworth appearing barrow that's going to be there in third. Very athletic, just maybe not quite as bold through the center portion of his body. Young lady rounds out, does a very nice job here. Just gets a little flatter in there, but skin in there in the way she does. Let's congratulate all four of those exhibitors.
Congratulations, your champion, Hereford Tamworth Barrow, belongs to Gatson Jervis with Taminator. Reserve, Bella Herrera with Tater Tot. Third, Braden Johnson with Colossus. And fourth, Riley Lynch with Peaches. Now entering the ring is your class of Landrace Barrows. This will be your first call for Poland Barrows. First call, Poland Barrows to the makeup area. Your champion Landrace Barrow is sponsored by the Salt River Project. Also, exhibitors, if you are champion or reserve in your breed, we need your bio sheets as soon as possible. If you are champion or reserve in your breed, please turn in your bio sheets as soon as possible. Thank you. Poland Barrows, this is your second call. Poland Barrows, this is your second call.
Chuck wants to watch the Poland Barrows or something.
Only 3 Landrace Barrows, but I think 3 that represent quality and yet at the same time. There's one that needs to win. He does so very easily for us. Young man there in the green. That barrow, just in terms of base width, being busted open underneath. He's got a tremendously big blade. He's very good through the center portion of his body. He's got all kinds of shape and dimension up high. And then on the profile, he still balances and blends. I think range of motion still acceptable out here, presented extremely well. A very good and easy place for us to start. I think the one that most resembles him, and just in terms of shape and product and base width down low, matching the mass that he has up high, is the young lady's barrow here. This one's got just more turn to the center portion of his back. He's got more, honestly, just meat and potatoes and shape and dimension through his upper hip and stifle. He needs to go just a little better. It needs to be maybe just a little stouter in terms of his feature, but that one's got so much more shape and dimension than the barrow that we have here in 3. I like this barrow a lot from the profile, height to shoulder and length to neck's good. I like his extra stoutness and density of skeleton. With that being said, he just he gets a little plainer. He's the plainest up high just in terms of shape and dimension. He's the plainest through his upper hip and stifle in that regard. Just give him a few more days and just a few more additives in terms of dimension. I like that barrow. It's just patterning. So once again, congratulations to those trio of Landrace exhibitors. A nice class there.
Poland Barrows, your class is entering the ring. Poland Barrows. Your results from your Landrace Barrow Drive. First, and your champion, Jet West from Wyoming. Reserve, Madison Woolery, Texas. Third, Madison Hosford, California. Now entering the ring is Poland Barrows. This will be your first call for spot barrows. First call, spot barrows to makeup area. Also exhibitors, we are going to move the Best of Arizona Drive. It'll be after the conclusion of the heavy crossbred drive before the selection of your champion crossbred barrow. The Best of Arizona will be after the heavy division before the selection of the champion crossbred barrow. Thank you. Spot barrows, this is your second call. Spot barrows, this is your second call.
I'm good. She might want one though.
They're
good.
I know, I'm gonna go get me one. Cinnamon.
Yeah. Shit, I know. I don't really like that shit. Oh, you're not There she is.
Spot barrows, we need you in the makeup area. Spot barrows, we need you in the makeup area. Also, your champion Poland is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson. Sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Thank you. Yeah, more? Another one?
Yeah, I've literally got like 4 of them.
Another one?
Oh no, I'm going to get me a cinnamon sugar. Those are good. Thank you guys. We'll probably start trying to buy pretzels again. Well, I'm not going to wait until we're done. The pretzel's so good. I know. Mama just wants to see how this class plays out and then we can vote.
Soft pretzel. It's fine now. I didn't think I was.
Never count. Straight up. Audrey says we have to go to her house. We are going to go to her house.
Already.
All right, bye. Good luck. We'll see you.
Good pair of bears up here on the top end, and bears that are presented extremely well in terms of skin and hair, and both these young men do a great job of dragging and presenting. For us, I think the one that just balances the best. He's the loosest in his spine. He's the most flexible off of both ends of his skeleton. I love that head when he comes at you. That's a stout noggin, a stout jaw. He's got a big arm and a big hind leg to go with it. And yet at the same time, he's the most comfortable. Length of step and stride, range of motion is very good. And yet, as we've talked throughout the day, offers a squareness of skeleton down low, but it matches up high on the top side of the skeleton. Very good pig to lead off with here in our pole division. The one we got into, as we said, presented extremely well. That's a big outline, tall fronted bear that's still extended ahead of his blade. Still got some density. He's got the extra hair and shag, and he's got a big stout hind leg. You know, he doesn't balance quite as good as our champion there. He's tighter in the center portion of his spine. Just doesn't use that hip and hind leg quite as good as our class winner. But that one's easy on the eyes, just in terms of the way he's driven and presented. Philman does a great job. Here's one that maybe is not as flashy in terms of skin and hair and hair coat and oil out here. But you break this pig down, very athletic and flexible in terms of range of motion. He's still got some shape and some product up high. He gets a little closer there off the ground, and as he goes away, he doesn't have quite the base width of the other ones. We thought he was a bigger outline bear that balanced and blended just a little better than this bear that comes out next. This bear just needs to be elevated a little bit, sounding in terms of his forearm there, and then more importantly, when he goes right away from you, he needs to have more flex and range of motion to his hip and hock there. He just needs a plant to be able to put that hock farther behind his tail head, but good in terms of center body, good in terms of shape, and good in terms of look ahead of his blade. A big Duroc bear comes out next. Is very good in terms of his center body. Still got some mass and product. Just gets a little bit more moderate, needs a little bit more elevation and look. And then we round out the class with bears that are taller fronted, just want to close and cave in underneath just a little more. Once again, congratulations to all 7 of those Poland exhibitors.
Your results from your Poland Barrow Drive. Congratulations, champion Gadsden Jarvis of Oklahoma. Reserve, Santos Olivares, Arizona. Third, Madeline Rawls, California. Fourth, Landry Gray, Oklahoma. Fifth, Kylie Nichols, Kansas. Sixth, Madison Wollery, Texas. Seventh, Kaylee King, New Mexico. Now entering the ring is your Spot Barrow Drive. Your champion Spot Barrow is sponsored by Staybridge Sweeps. This will be first call for Class 1 Yorkshire Barrows. First call, Class 1 Yorkshire Barrows. Class 1, Yorkshire Barrows. Class 1, Yorkshire Barrows. This is your second call.
Not even a little.
This is your last and final call for Class 1 Yorkshire Barrows. Last and final call, Class 1 Yorkshire Barrows, the Lancaster area.
Good class of spotties up here, and especially on the top end. And obviously, within this breed, you'll probably see some different shapes and sizes and some different types of pigs, if you will. It seems like no matter where you go, these spots tend to be a little different, and that's fine. Without a doubt, though, the fight and the argument is between second and third. Without a doubt, the one that needs to win for us is this young man's Barrow here. And again, one that's very, very fresh. As we reading and studying, he's fresh at the top side of his neck. Very good in terms of his body shape, as we talked throughout the day. The base split down low matches the mass up high, and that thing balances and blends very, very good from the side. His length of hips long enough. He's still comfortable enough for what we have out here in terms of his range of motion and his flexibility. That hog's spot on in terms of one that's maxed out just in terms of the skin and hair. He's big up high, he's big down low. Very, very good and easy class winner for us here in this division. Second and third is a tighter conversation for Jenna and I. And I guess the one that most resembles our class winner, just in terms of comfort level, is the one that the young man is closest to me. Just in terms of range of motion off of both ends of his skeleton, being able to plant, flex, and drive. Without a doubt, he doesn't have as much dimension. He's flatter in his blade. He doesn't have as much shape up high. He doesn't have as much shape there through his upper hip and stifle in comparison to the barrows on both sides of this pig. They get athleticism in terms of range of motion. The longer the drive goes, in terms of look and pattern from the side, that's where we thought this barrow just needed to fall into second in terms of one that can flex and get out and plant and drive. The EXP barrow, if you will, comes here in 3. This one's monster about his chest. He's got a huge forearm. He's got a very big hind leg. He's got all kinds of shape and dimension of product when you get right on top of him and from behind him through his upper hip and stifle. As you can see, the longer the drive goes, he gets choppier off of both ends of his skeleton. We just need to free him up and just give him more athletic step and stride in order to move him into our top pair today. But that one's intriguing. He's presented very well. He's wide and opened up. The bear that comes out next has got obviously a very big forearm. He's got a huge hind leg. With that, he gets very plain in terms of his shape up high, the shape of his blade. He's the plainest about the center portion of his back. He gets plainer in his lower stifle. That hog just needs to have more horsepower underneath in terms of base width. But certainly a young lady does a good job of driving and presenting on very stout features there. Just wish he was opened up and just packed a bigger punch in terms of shape and dimension and base width. The bear that comes out next does have more shape. He's bolder about his blade, he's bigger about his back, he's got more turn there to the center portion of his body, his upper hip and stifle. He reads to have more muscle shape as well. He's just not as comfortable out here when you start studying him off the either end of his skeleton. I thought he was the straightest out of his hip and hock, and the way he wanted to use that hock, we need to give him more athleticism as he goes away. And as we come on down the class here, still got some high quality bears, just need to change in an area or two. But once again, a good class, good champion up there on the top end. Let's give those kids a round of applause if you would, please.
Your results from your spot bear drive. First in champion, Gaston Munson. Reserve, Hunter Sanders. Third, Tabitha Hitchman. Fourth, Marissa Rawls. Fifth, Charlie Aldridge. Sixth, Haskell Chunley. Seventh, Brecken Robinson. Eighth, Julia Cervantes. Ninth, Anna Mae Cumming. 10th, Lexi Quick. Now entering the ring is the first class of Yorkshire Barrows. This will be first call for Class 2 Yorkshire Barrows. First call, Class 2 Yorkshire Barrows. Class 2, Yorkshire Barrows, this is your second call. Class 2, Yorkshire Barrows, this is your second call. This is your last and final call for the second class of Yorkshire Barrows. Last and final call, Class 2, Yorkshire Barrows.
I know, that's why I got it. So it'd be proud of shit. Because